actually, yeah. I mean, this kind of leads us into our main topic of the day. So let's put a pin in the super chats and use imaginary number super chat here to get into this.
Yeah,
Because yeah, there's a lot of people calling for the head of Bob Iger, isn't there, Andre?
there is indeed. And to answer this, the answer is
Dang it,
yes to
Bob!
both. That's both of those are what's happening here. But more and more are wising up to it that Disney is in a really, really bad spot right now. And the brand that used to be one of the most beloved is right now one of the most polarizing brands in the world. And that is obviously on Bob Iger. And it was only 1 week ago when Bob Iger was at the New York Times Summit and he spoke out against Elon Musk's ex. And in the process, he managed to make an enemy out of Elon Musk. Now, that might not have been the wisest course of action because Elon Musk, since then, he has not only doubled down, which we wrote about which we covered in our previous video on this. Check it out if you haven't already. Get it past 100,000 views. It's almost there. But since then, he has tripled and quadrupled and quintupled down as well, most recently, and this is only yesterday. And this even got news media coverage here from The Guardian. Elon Musk says Disney boss, that would be Boss Iger, should be fired immediately amid X ad boycott. Because Elon Musk has also pointed out that for all of the reasons that Disney said that they boycotted X, they don't make any sense. Because when it comes to the kind of content that advertisers generally do not want to be associated with, there is actually very, very little of it on X compared to other social media, like, for instance, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, and especially TikTok, where that kind of content is really flourishing. Yet Disney doesn't mind advertising there. And so, for that and other reasons, because Musk has really had a go at Iger on Est, really. He's of the opinion that Iger should be fired immediately. So, script and culture. Let's begin with you guys. This is now getting more and more attention. Do you think it's good for Iger to have someone like Elon Musk actively speaking out against him on his platform? Culture, let's begin with you.
Oh no, this is terrible. You could not possibly have drawn the ire of the wrong person. I mean, he in fact, Iger really did once again put both feet in his mouth, pulled them down through his intestine and out of his tuchus, and then put both feet back in his mouth again. When he did this, I can't believe that Disney put itself in a position where you had Elon speaking immediately after Iger, and he was very dismissive of the idea of leaving Twitter with the DealBook Summit host Sorkin. So I see this as another flop for Iger. Business wise, I see that Musk is really going to punish Disney with every mistake now. And think about all the insight that he has from the inside. For Twitter, he has access to any and everything that anybody's ever pushed through there. At the touch of a few keys on his phone or computer. And if Musk wants to take Disney apart, he's probably the most capable person to do so. He's also probably going to help lead a board revolution, there via the proxy fight. That's almost certainly going to change the makeup of that board. I think this is coming, and I think it's very possible that Elon and maybe a group of close friends, maybe even friends that are looking to buy Paramount right now, maybe those friends will help out trying to change up the makeup of the board at Disney. And I think that will eventually lead to Iger being removed. These are all possibilities. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying this was definitely stupid. I don't know, Script, what do you think?
I think this is a great testament to see the power of status within the financial and entertainment venue, because you have Bob Iger, who's been clinging on to his role as the king of Hollywood for the last few years, being called out by essentially, I guess, the king of the internet with Elon Musk, with his billion-dollar acquisition, his Starlink program, X, Tesla, and SpaceX. I mean, he's basically pointing a finger at the naked emperor and saying, I'm telling you, he's got no clothes. Well, a whole another pocket of the internet has been screaming this for years. It's great that it's gotten to someone with a far more influential voice right now, because the one thing we are lacking is a calling out of basically charlatans. And Bob Iger has definitely been one of those before. I'm looking forward to seeing what the fallout is going to be, because Disney's not in a great place. Obviously, Iger is definitely not in a great place, and the way Elon's been running Twitter and his companies, they've only been growing. So that's something to be said here. It's not a failure calling out another failure. It's a man who's actually garnered some significant success, pointing out the failures of someone who should have had an easy job maintaining and managing the properties they acquired and produce.
I think you're underselling that. Those properties should be even beyond where they were when they came in. The pitch was that with Disney's acumen, talent, money, that we're going to take these properties where they've never gone before, but in the opposite direction of where they ended up. So the idea of even maintaining those properties suddenly sounds like a very noble and good thing. No, that's not the promise. The promise was that they would become bigger and better. So we've been sucked into this notion of, oh, if only they had just kept it the way it was. Well, no, that's actually wrong also.
Well, that's Arrested Development. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it's the Stockholm syndrome.
It is. I mean, the sad state is that I would suggest a lot of audiences would rather have the Arrested Development as opposed to the regressive development that they've seen, which I would say, okay, that's one step closer, but
that's still wrong.
It's still wrong. Guys, I have on my Patreon, I recently posted saying you gotta experiment and imaginate to make up a word, and take a risk if you want your thing to grow. But you got to do so by maintaining the integrity of what made that brand successful in the first place.
Well, the only thing Iger's up his sleeve is to maintain some kind of diversity, equity, inclusivity, victim adjacency. And they think I believe he thought that was all that was needed, and he's done. Whereas look at what Musk has done. I mean, for crying out loud, though, those are true achievements, whether you like the man or not, or whether you want to argue that he was siphoning off feeding off the nipple of government funding or whatever. You do what you got to do. And the thing is, he's accomplished just extraordinary things. Iger has accomplished nothing.
No, he's purchased a lot and
yes,
devalued it.
Yep.
Well, he valued and then devalued it in that order.
Yes.
And yeah, it's obviously because his shtick as of right now is to pander harder, not realizing that is the problem. Or maybe he realizes that now. But again, with reference to the excellent coverage of, among the others, Film Threat and that Park Place, in the process, he has staffed Disney up with activists. So now there's no way for him to change course with the talent currently on staff in Disney. That certainly is my reading of the situation. And Script, you have spoken to this before as well, that Disney, they only go to a limited pool of creatives. Those are the people that they go to. They don't really take in pictures from anyone outside. And when all of the people that they use don't work, then how are they supposed to get out of their current problem?
Exactly. There's only like a rare exception, which would be Leslie Headland. She was an outsider. She didn't have as many connections to Disney directly. She just managed to forge one between Kathleen Kennedy and pitch her Acolyte show, which is debuting early next year.
Without her.
Yeah. So apparently.
And she was the worst kind of person that possibly could come, because she's not only an activist, she was the enabler of Harvey W. She was his enabler. She was the one. All of those actresses that cry about what happened in their meetings with Weinstein. She's the one that set those meetings up. And now she's this woker than woke person, and she's an activist of the highest order. And that was the external person that they hired, someone even worse than what they already had on staff. That's their problem. They need to wipe out everyone in order to start here. And that's kind of like what Elon Musk says as well. The rot is starting from the top. And that rot is Bob Iger. So, and this is what I'm curious about. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this in particular, Script. Because everyone is seeing this. How do you think that people are feeling about this in Hollywood? Are people still enamored with Iger, or are there more and more people starting to realize that maybe this guy was the problem all along? What do you think?
Sorry, I just had a phone call come in. I think, well, Hollywood has already been kind of side-eyeing Disney for the last couple of years anyways. Nobody's really begging to work for that company anymore like they were around 2013, 14, 15, 16, which I didn't notice at the time, but I should have thought as a red flag, because when a whole lot of people desperately want to work for Disney, for any studio really, with that much vigor, it should be a red flag, because studios cause, as much as they provide opportunities, they also cause more problems than writers really care to admit. So yeah, I think the industry is already kind of side-eyeing Disney and not really thinking them as the big thing that they are. How often will they be saying that in public? Probably not until the rest of the world starts to depreciate Disney more so than what is currently being shared, at least in these pockets of the internet and society. So I think it's still going to be a few years before we see a drastic return of what Disney was at the turn of the century, which is essentially just a parks company that makes film and television. That's its niche. It's a good niche for it. And when they're not trying to be, be the big boys in the studio system, Hollywood actually thrives fairly well.
You mean when they're not trying to be a state in and of its own?
Exactly. The aspect being is that family fun entertainment is great. It's comfort food. It's a good, reliable option for people. But movies, by and large, like to explore other genres, other approaches to subject matter that might not always be appropriate for family. But when you have a company that pretends to be a family-centric company, which Disney is, and they get into a high set of power, they are trying to influence all the other films around them to accommodate to what they perceive as family values and inject them into their other genres. And we have seen no greater experiment of this failed experiment, mind you, than over the last 8 years. The moment Disney started doing the stuff that they did with their Star Wars, their Marvel, their Disney Plus shows, other studios made similar attempts to try and copy it, failed, and they didn't really repeat those mistakes on the same frequency that Disney had. And that's how Hollywood works to a point. Whoever is the biggest studio in town that's making the most money, the other studios will try and ape and copy what they're doing so that they can share in that success as well. But the thing is, Disney is a very specific type of studio that was trying to branch out and failed because they never brought in people that knew how to market or write the things that they were branching out into. A regular studio, they don't care. They're like, we'll do a family movie, we'll do a comedy, we'll do a romance, we'll do a Western, we'll do a sci-fi, we'll do a mystery. You go to Warner Brothers, Sony, Paramount, Universal, they don't have a specific genre that you can always rely on. Disney does, which is like entertainment for children and families. That's their core. And when they try to stretch out of that without bringing in people that understand those other things, they fail. You never have this problem with any of those studios. Fox Studios was known as like the actioneer, but they had a couple of comedies that came out, some raunchy, some not so much. They experimented. Disney doesn't experiment.
No, they go all in to their disfavor. But someone who unfortunately has to be going all out right now is Cultured. So, Cultured, before you go, any final thoughts on Elon Musk?
Well, I think
taking on
he's on the
Disney.
right. I think he's on the right path. I think that firing Iger would certainly change the company for the better. But that's not where the firings would have to start. Everything from the top down there through middle management would have to go, and most importantly, the entire HR department would have to be removed and recreated. Because again, fire everybody and then hire back the people that you really need. That's probably the only way to go about things with Disney. But aside from that, I'm enjoying it. I've got my popcorn ready. But on that note, I am headed out. Do check out today's Friday post-flight interview, which will begin just right around the time that Friday Night Tights is ending. And I have a special guest today. It's Brett Desovic from Pop Culture Crisis. So you guys won't want to miss that. That's going to be a pretty big interview. So
Very cool. Look forward to checking that out.
Well, I'll see you guys.
I'm an hour ahead of you, aren't I?
Oh, are you talking to Brett too?
No, I've already seen it.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, by the time you do it, Chato will already have seen it.
Yeah, and Andre's already seen it because
I saw it 2 hours ago.
It was
I
great.
saw it an hour
Well, what
ago.
did you think? It was a good interview,
Fantastic.
right?
It's very good. Everyone needs to see it.
I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, it was
Hi, Culture.
especially fun with all of the technical issues, but which I know Culture has been having as of late, so that one is definitely going to age well. So yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if that's how everything worked? People would see stuff even before other people made it.
That would, it would be amazing to be a stock trader in that environment.
Oh yeah.
That'd be something. Speaking of stock trader, if you're a Disney shareholder, these should be very, very interesting times because there's more going on here. Because you now also have like more shareholders, more alliances of shareholders that are coming out against Iger in favor of Nelson Peltz. We still haven't heard anything about Musk actually buying up Disney shares and aligning himself with Peltz. But in light of everything that he is saying right now, I wouldn't be surprised if Musk suddenly decided to throw his hat into the Disney shareholder ring at this point, when he has been this vocal about.
You think so?
Actually, I do. I don't know that it's going to happen. I'm just thinking he's been so vocal. I mean, he could have been done with this a week ago, but every single day there's been something against Disney and something against Iger in particular. At the same time as there's a very public shareholder war against Iger.
And Elon's one of those where he. Sorry. I said Elon's one of those, he don't normally start saying shit like this unless he's already kind of thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead. You know what I mean? I think the one thing lately that took him off guard was the whole boycott thing. But in that, ever since then, I think he's been kind of thinking a few steps ahead. Even like the whole, when he was at the conference, like, there was things like, well, why didn't he just go and say this? Well, you and Mr. H and a few others brought up some very good points. And I think he handled it pretty well. And ever since then, I think he's been kind of, I think him saying stuff like this is a way for him to, I think he's thinking about it. I think he is considering either getting involved one way or the other, whether it's buying up some shares himself or, getting involved on some level in the proxy war. I don't know.
Why? Just to
I think it'll be.
I will give. I'll give a business case for why.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's so much to punish Bob, but I think Andre's going where I'm going with this. Go ahead.
I'm going to give, again, this is not officially happening, right? This is pure speculation at this point. But I will now give a business reason why Elon Musk would have an interest in getting into the Disney board fight and support Nelson Peltz. And it is this. If Elon Musk buys up a number of Disney shares from someone who's willing to sell, and that won't be difficult. Find some party out there. Give them an offer that they can't refuse.
Just say George Lucas for the sake of argument.
Yeah, just say that. Okay, the Disney share price is like, I don't know what it is right now, but let's say that it's 94 right now, and say
Something like that right now,
I'll
yeah.
pay $98 per share right now, give you a 4% premium or $4 premium. You give me everything right now. He's going to find someone who does that. And then he gives his voting powers to Nelson Peltz. And then he says, all I want in return is that you restore advertising on X. Disney advertises on X, and then X is saved. Doesn't go under, because Disney is that big an advertiser. There's your business case for why Elon Musk has a reason to go into the Disney board.
That's part of it.
Interest there.
I don't think there's any conflict of interest because Disney was looking to buy X at one point, and I don't think Elon owns anything else that's media corporations where it would conflict. And even then, no, you're kind of in the right where I was kind of headed, Andre. But even beyond that, I think it just as at this point, I think Elon kind of fancies himself this kind of public figure of sorts, kind of almost like a Tony Stark. And I'm sure he sees Disney as an institute that needs to be protected from itself right now. And it's kind of like if he starts doing polls about Disney, then we know something's up. It kind of reminds me of what he did when he bought X, for instance, right? We all kind of got this idea that he was up to something just because of the questions he was asking, the things he was saying. This is very similar to that in my opinion. And I agree with you. And I think even beyond that, just beyond just getting advertisers back, I mean, he don't usually throw his 2 cents into this kind of shit unless he's going to start doing something about it. That was kind of where I was coming from. So I agree with you. I think that's pretty much exactly what he'll do. Is I don't think he'll get directly involved, because then what Paul said is true then, because if he gets too directly involved, then it is just a fuck you to Bob, and it looks like some kid throwing a spoiled child fit. But if he gets involved on a business level, and it's all about trying to save Disney as a corporation, as a company, as an institute of America, and entertainment in general, and X, it does benefit X in that respect, right? Like, oh man, he's here. Thank God, because the man who's been watching this like a hawk and loving every minute of it, my brother and my papa, Mikey.
Dang it, Bob.
Mikey.
Hey, Mike. Team Dang It Bob. Hashtag.
Team Dang It Bob.
Is my mind? Hey, I was ahead of the curve on Dang It Bob.
You were.
Yes, you were.
Yeah. I was very proud to reference you in videos very early on with that little Mortal Kombat.
That's right. That's right. Shout out to Andre. Shout out to I am here as an envoy. I wasn't invited to the show. I guess I'm always invited to the show, but
you're always invited.
I'm intruding.
You're the CFO, man.
I'm intruding here, and I am here as a representative and ambassador to make a plea to Elon. Elon, if you happen to be watching Midnight's Edge, which you should be. In fact, Elon, you should subscribe and you should be a paying monthly member if you want the latest news on what's happening in Hollywood from an intelligent perspective. There's no better channel than Midnight's Edge. Anyway, Elon, there are people who have lost money on this stock. Not going to mention any names. Some of them might be Mexican. Elon, we need you in the individual investor segment. Now, I know you've got enough problems with Twitter right now. I know you're being cut back on advertisers, but let us unite, Elon, behind a common enemy, Bob Iger, and let us fix this company before it goes to hell in a handbasket. We must purge the rot, and we must restore this company to what was once great for family entertainment. We're going to hire Script Doctor to write some scripts. That was a plug for you, Script.
Thank you.
See that? You see how I brought you in? You like that? Elon, I know you're busy. I am available for consulting, CFO services. And let's just say this. If you want an expert on how to lose money by owning Disney stock and you want diversity and inclusion, I'm your guy.
No longer will this day just be an American holiday.
This shall be a Mexican money-losing investor holiday.
It will be known as our Financial Independence Day.
This is our Financial Independence Day. And let us know that this shall be a day that shall forever live in Iger misery, not infamy.
We will let Bob Iger know we will not go silent into the night.
We shall not.
We will survive
into the tortilla plantation. Bro, Elon, if you're listening, Look, you've got a few
Here,
billion
here.
sitting around. I don't need you to buy a lot of stock, Elon. I just need you to just give me 1 billion. We just need 1 billion, maybe 2. And that could be the tipping point, Elon. That could be the tipping point to get us over this hump. Okay, you can't leave my boy Nilsson out there fighting alone. And good God, on any given day, we don't know how many days we got left with Ike Perlmutter.
That this is sounding an awful lot like the axiom. Do you know how to make $2 million in the stock market? Start with 4 million.
Yep.
Elon, we're not here to talk about are we going to make money on this. We are on a mission of justice. We are on a crusade. This is not about making money. This is about saving the planet and the planet's culture.
Hallelujah.
Can I get an
actually,
amen
you
from
know what?
Canada?
Amen.
Yeah. But you know what? I have a business proposal, and I want to hear what you think about it. Just been developing on what I said earlier. There's no conflict of interest here. If this is a great opportunity for Elon to invest $1 billion or $2 billion, not for any other reason, but because he recognizes that the Disney share is undervalued right now, and in order to make a profit of that investment, he recognizes that Nelson Peltz, he knows his shit, unlike Bob Iger. So he's going to throw his hat in the ring with Nelson Peltz, give his voting shares to him. He doesn't have to do anything else because he knows that later, Nelson Peltz, without there being any kind of communication between the two, Nelson Peltz is smart enough to know that X is the biggest social media platform on the face of the earth. Yep. And it's really bad form for Disney when there is evidence for it that you have all kinds of malfeasance that advertisers don't want to be associated with on all these other platforms with which Disney associates, but not on X, where there is significantly less of it. So he's going to reverse the decision that Bob Iger made because it's a bad business decision. So it doesn't matter that he got shares from that he got support from Elon Musk, who happened to see this as an investment opportunity. He's just going to go back to advertising on X because it makes business sense to do so. How does that scenario sound?
I love it because when Bob took over, we were at what, $9,800 a share. We're down at 92. So we've lost money, and that 30-cent dividend isn't going to get us where we need to be, because I calculated Mexican Iron Man. We're not going to say what his dollar cost average price is because that would be embarrassing. But let's just say he should not have taken his gains and bought at 174 a share.
Yeah, no, that was
not one of my finest Mexican Iron Man intellectual moments.
But to be fair, though, this is a very traditional investing mistake. You see, like, wow, this share is doing amazing. I've made so much money on this share. So now I'm going to go and double down and use all my profits and invest even more in it, thinking it's going to continue to rise the way it already has.
I thought we were going to get that Netflix price, Andre. I thought we were going to get up to $300-400 a share.
Yeah, you are not the first to make that mistake, and I'm afraid you won't be the last. But boy, you got suckered.
Yeah, but let's just say you were somebody that bet on. I'm sorry, wasn't there someone in the YouTube space that called him Daddy Iger?
I believe there was a Big Papa Iger. I believe there was a Campia or something.
Let's say you bet on Big Papa Iger at 92 when he walked in the door at what, 92.53 a share. Or 90, what was it back then? Hold on, let me look it up. Hold on. I have it handy here, right here. $99 a share. Oh, look at that. $99 a share in November when he took over. Okay. So we're now at 92. So we've already lost 8%. But let's just say that you're sitting on your 92.52 and you got your 30 cents dividend, right? Your return on investment is 0.003%.
Ah, fantastic.
That means, Andre, that if you bought this stock, your return was not even 1 penny. It would be, I took 1 penny, sliced it up into 100 pieces, and I gave you 32 pieces of that 1 penny. Elon, do you see why we need you?
It would be, that's what I mean. It would be, but also, right now, it's so undervalued, it makes perfect sense for Elon Musk to go in right now. In fact, it would be financially irresponsible of him not to do so.
Yep.
So again, I don't know that it's going to happen. I don't think, but I can just see where it would make business sense for Elon Musk to actually put his money where his mouth is and get involved in Disney.
And that's what I was saying, is he usually does that when he starts talking about this kind of stuff. He tends to put his money where his mouth is. I mean, so I think there may be something to it. I could be wrong, but
look, he's all over Bob Iger like I'm all over him with the
exactly.
Bob. I mean, I love the fact that he dude, every meme that he's put up on Twitter that he's agreed with, he did the South Park one. He agreed with that. Sounds about right. He's on fire, this guy.
Yeah.
Put a ticket in and make a name it gay.
What did Elon type? Sounds about right.
Something like that. Or he laughed at it. I know that, but like, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, he also put out there that he should be fired. He flat out said it. He should be fired immediately. Walt Disney is turning in his grave over what Bob has done to his company. So yeah, that's the tweet. Oops, I just unshared what I was sharing.
If you can get it up here. You see,
that's what she said.
Yeah. Elon Musk. Yeah. This is direct from his Twitter account. On yesterday, December 7th, referring to Bob Iger. He should be fired immediately. Walt Disney is turning in his grave over what Bob has done to his company. And Elon Musk, he has quite some reach right here. I mean, and this is something that I also wanted to bring up with you, Mike, since you're here. Because we've had all of these Disney revelations in the past 48 hours. You had the forensic in Florida come out. Not a lot of coverage in it in the industry trade. The only ones that really did anything with it were Deadline Hollywood. And their headline on that whole thing was Ron DeSantis appointed board approves audit accusing Disney of self-dealing. So they instantly went with the angle of, well, this is purely political and not reflective of reality. And none of the other trades have really written anything about it at all. So denial appears to be strong here. But clearly, Disney are in the wrong. They have violated the law in Florida, and RICO suddenly may be up against them sooner rather than later here. So how long do you think that Hollywood can keep up this charade that Disney is just innocent?
Well,
or do you think that behind closed doors, they are increasingly waking up to the fact that, yeah, something is rotten in Disney?
Well, to answer that, I want to highlight something that I haven't heard, and maybe it has been. I've been out of town all week and over the weekend. So I'm just getting back and I'm trying to catch up on everybody's streams and videos about all of this stuff. That being said, one thing that I haven't heard so far talked about is who wrote this audit, or at least one of the audit opinions. And his name is Jennings. And the company that he's a partner in is literally known and has been known for decades. Like, I don't know him personally, but I know of him by reputation. Let me share something on my screen real quick, and then we can bring it back to the tweet. Here, let me show you something real quick. I just brought this up. Okay. Jennings literally wrote a book called Fraud Investigation and Forensic Accounting in the Real World. Like, the independent auditor isn't some guy that they just called up and said, hey, can you take a look at this stuff? He's Delta Consulting Group, his firm, has been around for decades. I like literally, like, he is considered, I'm trying to think, like, in the accounting, tax, and fraud investigation world, it's like, I don't know, a Michael Jordan. I mean, he would definitely be like on the Mount Rushmore of accounting and tax in the area of independent audit and fraud investigation. Like, anyone who's anyone knows who this guy is. And he can't be bought by one little municipality. He's never been able to be bought by anyone for anything he's done. And he has a stellar reputation. He has more licenses in more ways, from business valuation to certified public accounting and so forth. The guy is just not to be messed with. He is absolutely a badass in the accounting and tax world. And to say that they hired someone independent to come and take a look at this, I don't know. That's like asking, hey, we brought in Joe Montana to take a look at this kid in high school and see how their arm strength is. I don't know. We wanted to put our offense together, so we brought in Tom Brady. We brought in an independent consultant named Tom Brady to help out in the quarterback's coaching room. I could go on, but that's kind of like what it is. So those of us in the accounting tax world who heard about this stuff going down were like, holy shit. Because when you hire this kind of guy, you can't buy his opinion. You literally pay him and let him go. Like you just let him go and just see where the dust settles. And I haven't heard very much about this yet from anyone, and maybe that's because people don't know, like I know. This guy literally wrote he is legend. He is legend. He's not just a regular, like if I went and did the accounting, we'd be like, okay, guy, he went to Stanford, he went to Oxford, but he's got some firm in South Carolina, he's got clients around the country. Okay, great, he's a smart guy, big deal. But I'm just another guy. This guy is legend who did this audit. And this is the kind of guy that if there are civil suits or there are criminal investigations, you put this guy on the stand with his CV, he's unchallengeable. You're not going to bring someone else up to say, oh, this is a guy that just got bought off by Ron DeSantis or Disney or whatever the hell. So I understand why he's being ignored, because this guy is so credible. You start taking anyone realizes that you look into his background, he's untouchable. Untouchable. So yeah, I think there's potential stuff. I agree with Andrew, legal mindset 100%. Is there the political will to enforce what should be? Look, a good friend, one of your members, a guy named Elijah Snow, I can't tell you what he does, but let's just say he's in law enforcement in one of the US 50 states. He's seen people go to jail for a lot less than what this guy Jennings found that Disney has done, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and I don't want to give anybody any false hope that anybody's going to go to prison over it, because
it's about political will.
Yeah, I say money buys its way through most of this kind of crap, unfortunately.
As long as it's not in Hunter Biden's briefcase.
Or his laptop.
Or his laptop.
But yeah, so Andre, was there more you wanted to cover as far as this Elon Bob Iger stuff, or should we get to what the audience is talking about?
Yeah, I think we can get to what the audience is talking about. I think we have clearly established Disney is screwed, and it's only going to get worse from here on out if you are Team Iger. Mike, anything else that you feel that we have missed before we move on to what the audience is saying?
Nope, I think it's great.
When you clip this section out, Andre, I've got the title for it. Iger Musk be fired.
Nice.
Iger
I like
must
it.
be fired. Okay.
Musk be fired.
I'll take it up for consideration.
It is a little jumbled. It might confuse some folks, but I see where you're going with it, Paul.
I might put it in the thumbnail.
Yeah, that's
where it works.
Title.
Yeah.
Iger Musk be fired.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There, you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe, and join us.